Good morning, everybody. I am sorry that we will not have virtual class today. Instead, I ask that you please watch this video and complete the things that we're going to talk about. I'm going to go through some details of the work that is already supposed to have been turned in, and as well what we will be doing today. So remember, when you are in Canvas, if you go to the announcements, you will see each class day. So if you need to know what we've done recently, you can go back to announcements and check that day if you were absent. So today is October 15th. Today we are going to review DNA and RNA with this DNA structure practice. If you open that up, you can click on that directly from here to get to your Google. So that is going to be right here. We're going to come back and complete that together in just a second. Once you are done with that, you will be able to submit it today, and then you will be able to work independently on this DNA digital assignment, similar to what we've done before with the cell cycle. And so if you look at this assignment, you can click that and you will get this DNA and replication. Okay, so you'll be able to work on that as well. The DNA quiz is also going to be opened, and I will show you where that is on Canvas. If you click, like I said, you can click directly on this link. Oh, I'm sorry. I lied. It won't be open until tomorrow. So I'll go back and change that. All right, so I have gone back and changed that. Your DNA quiz will be open tomorrow on the 16th for you guys to work on. So let's go into this DNA structure. You can click directly from here to get to it. Or if you would like to go into modules, remember we are in module 5. Module 5 is all about DNA. You should have done your 2 Edpuzzles already. And then you'll see right here, due today, is this DNA structure practice. So let's see if we can answer these first. Please feel free to go through on your slide and answer these questions as well so that you can turn these in at the end of class today. Okay. So if we look here at this slide, remember there's a zoom button right here. If you want to zoom in a little bit, you can. This main idea is all about the structure of DNA. So we're going to label the components of DNA. There are numbers on the different parts of the DNA, and there are letters for the different bases. So number 1 is pointed to this outside piece of the DNA. So what do you call that outside piece of the DNA? Remember, that's called the sugar phosphate backbone. So if you need to, you can move this little box up to make that so you can fit that in there. But remember, this is the sides of the DNA called the sugar and phosphate backbone because it alternates. Number 2 is pointing to what's in the middle. These are your nitrogen base pairs. Okay. And then number 3 is pointed to a single base pair. All right. A then is pointing to the specific letters. So A is actually pointing to A in the inside of the DNA molecule. And remember, A stands for adenine. B is pointed to a T. So T is thymine. C is pointed to the letter G, which stands for guanine. And D is pointed to letter C for cytosine. All right, and we know that the molecule of DNA is a shape that we call specifically a double helix. We go down to slide 2, same idea, still looking at this DNA structure. We're going to use these words to label, okay? So A, we said, stands for the word adenine. which pairs with a T, which stands for thymine. The little green flags sticking off of this house are a phosphate. The orange house 5-sided structure here is my deoxyribose sugar. How do I know that? Because it has 2 strands. And remember, the sugar in DNA is called deoxyribose. This is pointing to the letter G, which is what we know is guanine. C, which is cytosine. The bottom box is pointing to the bonds that hold together the nitrogen bases, which are called hydrogen bonds. Remember, they're weak, very, very weak, and that's good because we want them to be able to be broken apart for replication. Okay, and then this whole piece together on this side is known as your backbone. Alrighty. All right, let's zoom in a little bit on slide number 3 so we can actually read this. Same idea. We've got choices here: nucleotide, deoxyribose, phosphate group, nitrogen base, hydrogen bond, and a base pair. So let's look at the picture first, and we'll try to use these. We've got this is pointed to this side. So maybe we need to come back to that one. This is pointed into the middle. So it's only pointed to one of these. So we can label that. We know in the middle of our ladder is our nitrogen bases. Oops, helps you put a space. This is pointing to all 3 pieces: a phosphate, a sugar, and a nitrogen base. And we know that all 3 of those pieces together are what we called a nucleotide. Okay. This one out here is pointed just to this little circle, which means that this one right here must be pointed, number 1, must be pointed to this sugar. And like we said, we know the name of the sugar in DNA is deoxyribose. And I know that's a sugar because it's that 5-sided looking little house. Okay. All right, which means that number 6 is pointing to just the phosphate. Oh, today, I'm so sorry. All right, so we got rid of nucleotide, we got rid of deoxyribose, we got rid of phosphate, we got rid of nitrogen base, and so now we're looking for hydrogen bond and a base pair. So a base pair would be 2 bases, which is what number 4 is pointing at, the combination of both of those being circled. This is called my base pair. Remember, A goes with T and C goes with G. And then number 5 is pointing to the little lines holding together the nitrogen bases, and we now know those are called weak hydrogen bonds. So sorry, I cannot spell today. Okay. All right, so now let's see if we can't figure out the statements. Something, guanine, cytosine, and thymine are the 4 bases. So the bases that we're missing here in number 7, the one they did not write down, was adenine, which starts with an A. And we know that these are the 4 nitrogen bases in DNA. In DNA, blank always forms a bond with guanine. So the pair that matches with G is C, which is also called cytosine. We also learned that the sequence of these bases, the order of the A, T, C's, and G's, are what are going to create the difference between all organisms. Because remember, all living things have those same 4 letters in their DNA. The process of making a new copy of the genetic information and passing it on to a new cell is called replication. And we know that the shape of DNA is a double helix. Okay. All right, slide number 4. I'll zoom out just a little bit. is talking about our base pairs. So remember, I reminded you up at the top of this which pairs with what. So A pairs with T and C pairs with G. So what I want you to do in each of these is I gave you a strand of DNA. I know that this is DNA because there's T's in it. Remember, DNA does not have uracil or a U. It instead has thymine, the T. So we're going to go DNA, and we're going to then type in the replicated DNA, the copy of it. Okay, so remember, C goes with G, G goes with C, T goes with A goes with T, A goes with T, G goes with C, C goes with G, G goes with C, C goes with G, T goes with A goes with T, A goes with T, T goes with A, T goes with A, and A goes with T. Okay, let's try another one. I'm just going to read out the ones that match, and let's see. I want you to work on these and see if you can do them on your own, and then unpause the video and check your work, because we will be doing some more of these, and I want to make sure you feel comfortable with these pairs. So remember, apples in the tree, cars in the garage. So if we start on number 2, we should have A, G, A, T, 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 A, C, T, A, G, C, T, A, G. Try another one, pause the video, and then let's see if you can get it right on your own. Doing all right? You getting the hang of this? So take a second and check your numbers 1 through 6. Once you are finished with those, this assignment is finished, and then you can turn this in. What I wanted to do with this was make sure that you had an understanding of this before you submitted it, and we could talk it through so that it made a little bit more sense for you. Okay, so that was the DNA structure. Make sure you submit that today. Should be pretty easy. We just did all the answers together. Okay, you'll also see right here there is a link to a Google slide. When you click on this, it's going to take you to something similar as what we did the other day in class, where you can click the links and review this information. So I would like to watch these videos with you real quick in case you have an issue with Discovery Education. So if you are on this PowerPoint, or excuse me, Google Slides that says class 1015, we would talk about this today in class. And so what I'd like for you guys to do is view these videos. So when you click on this link, it will take you to the video. You'll see up here in the top corner, you'll need to log in to Discovery Education to make that happen. Not a big deal. When you click login, all you need to do is make sure you're picking your CCS email account, and then you will be able to view the video. Okay, this is going to go through the development, talk about some of the people that helped lead to the discovery of DNA structure. The next video is all about the Human Genome Project, which is where we, as humans, have mapped the entire sequence of DNA for a human. So now that you've signed in, you'll see that when I click this link, it goes right to the video and is much easier for you to view. Okay. We just did this DNA practice together. That's the one I just showed you and went through the answers on. Remember that all of these things should have been turned in by now. There was a meiosis class practice if you're in second or third period, and a meiosis digital assignment that's only for second and third period. However, all of my classes had a Unit 4 test last week that was due by Tuesday, and those 2 DNA and RNA, right? There was 2 Edpuzzles that were due yesterday. All right, so like I told you, you should be able to turn in this DNA practice. If you're someone who wants to get ahead of the game, I've added some extra things on here, but this is where we'll start when we come to class on Friday. We should have virtual class on Friday, and this is where we will start, but I just went ahead and added these on here so that if you want to get ahead, you can. All right, these are just videos to watch, but we will talk about RNA and protein synthesis in class on Friday. All right, so underneath Canvas, you'll also see that you are going to be able to work on this DNA digital assignment. It is not due until Friday, so I would like for you to work on this today. And then tomorrow in class, if you have any questions, we can go over those and help make things a little bit clearer. So if you click on this DNA digital assignment, you're going to be taken to this Google Slides presentation. Everyone has a copy of this. So here on the first slide, you're going to type in your name. Slide number 2 is going to tell you how to complete the answers based on what image you see. And then just as we've done before in the past, you have a little blanks and you drag them over here. Okay? So DNA is a long molecule that carries genetic information. It is made up of small units called nucleotides. A nucleotide has a phosphate, a 5-carbon sugar, and if we're in DNA, that's called deoxyribose, and one of the 4 nitrogen bases. All right, this is a little bit confusing down here, so you can skip this if you would like. This is talking about that size where we talked about some of the bases have 2 rings and some only have 1 ring. And so the difference here, it's not that they pair together, it's about their shape. So if you don't know that, don't panic. I didn't teach it to you. Okay? Same idea here. Just going to drag the boxes over. You're going to label the nucleotide here by dragging these over. And then you're going to need to give me the contribution of these scientists. So if you will type the year in the box up here, either use the information from the videos that I just asked you to watch on Discovery Education, or you can use Google and tell me about their contribution to DNA. So there's Oswald Avery, Erwin Chargaff, Rosalind Franklin, James Watson and Francis Crick, Gilbert and Sanger, the Human Genome Project, which is also a video on the Discovery Education. And then you have a little sort here versus prokaryote versus eukaryote. Remember, a prokaryote means that they have no nucleus and they're simple. Eukaryote is us, right? Plant and animal cells. Then we're going to go into this idea of base pairing, what matches with what. So you're going to drag your nucleotide over here to match the correct letters. This one, you're going to type in the blank. So when you just type it in, you're going to organize these. So put them in the correct order. And then a couple more practices with replication. All right, so this is not due until Friday, so please complete as much as you possibly can today during our class time. That way tomorrow we can discuss. If you have any questions, please send me an email or remind, whichever you prefer. And then tomorrow I will release your quiz for you. So once again, Remember, if you go here into your main page under announcements, you will be able to see what we are doing. If you are in my 4th period foundations class, same idea. You go into announcements. You're going to have the same information on your assignments as well. So the DNA structure practice, which we did the answers together, and then this is what I want you to work on independently, and it will be due on Friday. Please let me know if you guys have any questions. I apologize for my absence once again, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Hope you have a good day. Bye.